Welcome to Montage Microchurch Network, where we are making disciples by loving Jesus and loving people. This series will explore the letters Paul wrote to churches while he was in prison: Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. Join us while we wrestle with and apply these amazing letters to our lives.
My wife, Mo, does not like to cook with salt. I don't know why, and I personally think it's totally unbiblical, right? Because Paul says, let your conversations be seasoned with salt. I mean, salt just makes everything better, right? People want more of it. And that's what our conversation is supposed to do for people who don't know Jesus yet. It's the same you. It might even be the same words, but it's about whether there's something seasoning it that makes people lean in instead of tune out. So where does your faith actually show up day to day? Because I think a lot of us have a real gap between what we believe on a Sunday when we're with our spiritual family and then how we actually behave on a random Tuesday afternoon when we're just on the struggle bus, right? The faith is real. It's not like we're faking that. It's just kind of contained to a spiritual compartment of life instead of overflowing into everything else. And Paul refuses to let that gap exist in this passage. He goes straight into the most ordinary, unglamorous parts of everyday life. I mean, marriage, parenting, work, conversations with neighbors. And Jesus belongs in all of it. And not as some spiritual overlay you add on top, but as the actual animating force behind how you live. Whatever you do it as if you're doing it directly for Jesus. That's a genuinely life-changing way to think about something as ordinary as a Tuesday afternoon. What Paul writes in this section was actually a pretty radical thing for his time. His instructions about marriage, parenting, about how masters and workers should treat each other all carry an underlying assumption that quietly blew up the normal social hierarchies of the Roman world. That every single person in every single role has real dignity and real responsibility before God. And that how you treat people in those roles is ultimately an act of worship directed at Jesus. I mean, that was a radical idea then, and it still can be a radical idea now, right? When we actually live it instead of just nodding along with what I'm saying in the video. Paul says in verse 3:18 through 21, "Wives, submit to your husbands, as is fitting for those who belong to the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and never treat them harshly. Children, always obey your parents." Children, "for this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not aggravate your children, or they'll become discouraged." Now, I want to address the wives submit part directly because it's one of the most misunderstood verses, and I'm not going to get past that one. Right? Context matters enormously here. Paul's not saying that women are lesser, or that wives are property, or that any kind of mistreatment's okay. None of that at all. He's describing a voluntary kind of ordering in marriage that's rooted in Jesus, not in power structures. And notice what he immediately turns and says to the husbands, right? Love your wives, never treat them harshly. The standard Paul sets for husbands isn't authority, it's the kind of love that lays its life down for someone else. And that's the exact same love Jesus showed the church. Servant-hearted, sacrificial, gentle, not domineering. A husband who loves his wife well will cause a wife to want to submit to him because he's all about loving and serving her. It's like this fight to see who can bless the other one better. And then to fathers specifically, don't aggravate your children or they will become discouraged. Right? As a dad of 4 kids with a pretty wide age range, that verse hits me personally just every time I read it. It's so easy to let impatience or distraction or frustration turn into a parenting style that just wears our kids down instead of building them up. And Mo's honestly better at this than I am. And I learn a lot just from watching how she handles our kids. But Paul's standard for parenting is not just discipline. It's the kind of relationship that leaves your kids encouraged rather than beat down by the end of an interaction, even if it's a hard interaction. Right? Then Paul moves to our work situations in verse 22 to 4 verse 1. He says, work willingly at whatever you do, as though you're working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that your master you are serving is Christ. Right? Work willingly as though you're working for Jesus himself. That verse, it sounds so simple, and it's enormous once you really sit with it. Whether you're cleaning gutters in October in the Flathead Valley when it's 38 degrees and raining, speaking from real experience, or whether you're grinding through homework, or you're working a part-time job, or you're doing something that nobody's ever going to notice or thank you for. You're supposed to do it as if Jesus himself is your boss, your teacher, or your coach. You're supposed to do it well. You're supposed to do it with integrity. You're supposed to bring the same quality you would bring if you knew for absolute certain that Jesus was standing there watching. I tell you what, every once in a while I see a gutter that I missed on a house, or some small part of the job that I could do but I don't really have to do, and my flesh says, just skip it, move on to the next thing. Nobody's gonna know. But thankfully, the Holy Spirit brings this verse to my mind almost every single time. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you're working for the Lord rather than for people. That's Paul's whole point here. There's no secular version of your life sitting next to a sacred version of your life. There's just one life, and Jesus is supposed to be present in all of it. The way you work is worship. The way you treat people around you at work or school is a witness, whether you mean it to be or not, and whether it's a positive witness or a negative one. The integrity that you bring when nobody's checking is a reflection of the Jesus who actually lives inside of you. Your classroom, your job, your team, your family, none of that is somewhere you go before your real life starts. It's already part of your mission field right now. Right? And Paul closes this section with two things that belong together: prayer and paying close attention to the people around you who don't yet know Jesus. Verse 4, 2 through 6 says, devote yourselves to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Live wisely among those who are not believers, and make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be gracious and attractive, a little bit of salt in there, so that you will have the right response for everyone. Right? Devote yourself to prayer with an alert mind. Sometimes that doesn't work so well at 11:30 at night in your bed. But that combination, it's interesting if you slow down on it. Right? Prayer isn't passive disengagement from everything happening around you. It's active engagement with Jesus while staying wide awake to what's actually going on. You pray and you pay attention. You ask Jesus to open doors, and then you actually walk through them when they show up, instead of missing them because you weren't watching. Let your conversation be gracious and attractive. Literally seasoned with salt in the original language. Right? Salt in the ancient world was about flavor and preservation, keeping things from going bad. Paul's saying, let the way you talk to people, especially people who don't yet follow Jesus, be the kind of conversation that makes them want more, not less. Like, it's not preachy, it's not self-righteous, it's not trying to win an argument or prove a point. It's gracious, genuinely interesting, seasoned with something real, instead of just bland or harsh. Because people are watching how you talk more than you probably are aware of. And they're often more spiritually open than they really let on. And the way you show up in just an ordinary conversation might be the exact thing Jesus uses to open a door you didn't even know was there. Francis of Assisi says, preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use words. Right? The way you treat your spouse or your parents, how you handle your siblings, the integrity you bring to a job or to school, the graciousness of how you talk to people. It's all preaching. Whether you ever say the word Jesus out loud or not, make it worth listening to. Now, don't get me wrong, we are called to share the gospel, and we do eventually need to get to a place where we are using words, but it should be those words flavored with salt. And remember the bland, saltless food that Mo cooks sometimes? Sorry, babe. Add a little salt and bam, it's great, right? It's the same exact food, same situation. Salt just made more people want it. Your conversation with people who don't know Jesus can be exactly like that. Or it can just be the bland version nobody's asking for seconds of. Right? Same words, same situation. The difference is whether there's something seasoning it. Your everyday life, relationships, work, conversations, it's a mission field. There's no separate compartments where the real spiritual stuff happens. Work like Jesus is watching. Because he actually is, right? Treat the people closest to you with patience instead of harshness. Season your conversations with people far from Jesus so they want more, not less, of whatever's different about you. I want to leave you with one more thought. Because I think it's easy to hear a passage like this and feel a little overwhelmed. Like now you've got marriage and parenting and work and evangelism all loaded onto your plate all at once. Thanks, Jens, right? But notice, Paul isn't asking you to do anything more than be fully present and fully faithful in the actual relationships and roles you already have. You don't need a new platform or a bigger stage. You need to bring Jesus into the ordinary roles and people sitting right in front of you. The family that you're already a part of, the job or the classroom that you're already in, the neighborhood you already live by, the conversations that you're already having. The mission field, it's not somewhere else that you need to go. It's exactly where God has already placed you. So our discussion questions for this week. Number 1, in what areas and ways do you struggle to bring Jesus into every part of your life? And number 2, I want you to describe the struggles you have when trying to do everything as if you're working for the Lord. And lastly, I want you to think of one person who doesn't know Jesus. I want you to try to have one genuine, salty conversation with them this week. Gracious, not preachy, and just come back and share with us how it went. Right? This is what it looks like to be the church, to be the bride of Christ. It's to have Jesus in every single part of our lives that flows through us and makes everyone around us want more of him. I love you guys.
Thank you for watching. If you would like more content, to connect with us, or to explore more of who we are as a network, visit montagemicro.church.